Joining us right now to discuss these developments is Republican Congressman Marlin Stutzman of Indiana. Congressman, great to see you.
Frederica, great to see you. Thanks for having me.
So the war with Iran right now in its third month, and peace talks appear to be at a standstill. Again, are you confident the administration has a strategy for reaching peace and ending the war with Iran?
I really do. And, it's going to take a little bit of time. Thankfully, even this last week, President Trump sent a letter to Congress saying that the military operations are pretty much ceased. And so now it's entering into this phase of negotiations. And the hard part is, really dealing with who's in charge in Iran. We know the Ayatollah Khomeini was killed at the strikes at the very beginning. And, we don't know if the son is alive for sure. We hear messages from him. I'm sure there's a power vacuum in the IRGC right now and who's in charge. So negotiating is the hard part right now with who. I think the right decision is to cut off the traffic through the Strait of Hormuz and just not let Iran decide who gets to go in and out. They've lost about $8 billion since this strait has been closed by us.
Well, is the who, as you mentioned, really the obstacle? Because there was a delegation that had already gone to Islamabad, meeting up with the delegation from the U.S. as well. It could have happened a second time, but for a variety of reasons that was called off. But is that really the obstacle, who the U.S. is talking with? Because we are hearing feedback from Iranian leaders that they're not satisfied with the blockade, and that is an obstacle in moving negotiations forward.
Yeah, I'm sure they're not happy with the block of the strait because, that's their cash flow. That's how they make their operations work, with the cash that they can, make from shipping gas and oil out of Iran. And so that's what's squeezing them. And I think they're so good at propaganda. But that's just something that we're not going to fall for, whatever they say in threats and, the fact that they're going to somehow, reattack us. We know from the intelligence that we have that we put so much damage on their assets, their military assets during those strikes. And so by just simply holding up the strait right now, it is having an effect on us too. There's no doubt about that, because it affects global supply. Because there's nothing coming out of the straits right now with supply that usually goes to China and goes to Europe. And so it is having an impact here at home. But I was at a couple of breakfasts this morning and different events. And I hear mixed, because people don't like the high gas prices at home right now. But they also understand that we have to have a change in Iran, and that we can't have a regime there that wants a nuclear weapon.
Do you want to be among those members of Congress who want to give congressional approval for this White House to move forward, given that the War Powers Act, has certain stipulations after 60 days?
Well, I would vote to give authorization, but I don't believe that the president needs it, since the operations have ceased. We really are in a diplomacy era now, rather than any sort of attack on Iran. The ceasefire has held. We have actually, we kept our end of the bargain, and also we're waiting for the Iranian leadership to come up with some sort of a plan going forward. But again, part of the heart problem here is their ideology is so difficult to negotiate with. And, we have known Iran to be the leading state sponsor of terrorism for 40 plus years. And so, for us to think that we're going to get this over with in 40 days, or it's going to take a little longer than that. But I do think that we're on the right path, and that, the Iranians are going to try to drag this out as long as they can, because they want to maintain power. They are going to do everything they can to survive. And hopefully, my hope is that they have an internal struggle, and that there's some common sense folks within that circle that at some point say, look, this is not the way that we're going to move ahead. We've been decimated militarily, and that if we make some good changes, that we can be, participating in the global markets, and of course not be a threat to the region anymore.
All right, let's shift gears a little bit because the U.S. Supreme Court justices just invalidated Louisiana's congressional map, calling it an unconstitutional gerrymander. And that move, weakened the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Louisiana Republicans are now delaying the May 16th primaries for U.S. House races to redraw the map in that state. People have already mailed in their ballots, et cetera, and are probably very disappointed because things are now changing. And in fact, more states might follow. What are your concerns that this ruling could, A, hurt minority representation in Congress and ultimately undermine the very rights that voters have come to expect?
Well, we do already in Indiana, and I can speak to Indiana much better than I can some of the other states, but in Indiana, we already have some good guidance on how the maps should be drawn. And, I would argue that, Marion County, which is Indianapolis, it has one representative, when in fact, if there were multiple representatives from Indianapolis, that there would be more representation and also balanced representation. And so, I think that, while we want to be sure that every American has good, strong representation, I think the bigger problem is the way that the states are kind of running to their corners. Blue states are wiping out all the red districts. Red states are wiping out all the blue districts.
So you think
And I
it's
don't think
okay
that's
to
healthy
redraw maps in the middle of people sending in their ballots and just days away from elections?
No, no, I don't like that. I think that that's the problem that we've run into with all of this redistricting that's gone across the country. I have supported it in Indiana. Well, that's because, California did it, and, Texas did it, Virginia has done it, and it's a partisan food fight right now, and I don't think it's good for the American people. And I think that, just like Massachusetts, it's 9 Democrats in Massachusetts, no Republicans. Massachusetts is as Democrat as Indiana is Republican. We should follow some sort of baseline when drawing maps, and considering that there are both Republicans and Democrats in our states. In Indiana right now, we're 7-2. We're going to maintain that. But Virginia just is a 50-50 state, and now they're going to be 10-1 Democrat. And I just don't think that serves the American people well.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Congressman Marlin Stutzman, thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.